Hello and welcome to the Out of Bounds Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Harrison. Today I got a special guest from the Daniel Artest Podcast. Finally got a chance to meet up with Daniel Artest from the Daniel Artest Podcast. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing good, man. Hey, listen, thank you for having me on your show, man. I really appreciate it, brother.
Man, it's such an honor to have you on here, man. I just want to finally get into some of these great basketball topics, man. I've been seeing some of your shows, man, and been really interested to finally get this set up with us, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, listen, I love the game. You love the game. And that's why we're here together to talk about, the game and stuff like that. Yeah, whatever topics you want to talk about, I'm here, man. I'm in quarantine mode. Obviously, you see it. I'm just in the grind, been knocking these podcasts out and, ready to have some fun.
Say, man, I'm right there with you, man. I've been growing this out for about 3 weeks now, man. It's crazy. That's why I wear this hat all the time, man. I got two Laker hats, man. I interchange them out, man. I'm a big Laker.
Okay, yeah, I ain't got no hat, obviously. So yeah, man, But hey, man, I'm in the building, so let's get
Yeah.
it in.
So, first off, man, I want you to introduce yourself to the listening audience, man. Tell them about yourself, tell them who you are, and everything else.
All right, everybody. For those that don't know, I'm Daniel Artest. I'm the host. I'm the owner, creator, writer, producer, director of the Daniel Artest podcast. My older brother is Metta World Peace, former Laker, former champion for the Lakers and stuff. And that's what I do right now, just podcasts, and I just go live, man. I played basketball overseas, Germany, Greece, and China, as well as various semi-pro leagues in the United States for 12 years. And, after basketball, trying to figure out something else to do. And, podcasting just happened to be, my second wind. So here I am.
So Daniel, what prompted you to go into podcasting? Because I know for me, it was because of the quarantine. I was, having, different sports debate talks with, people from at work. And since I was, not able to go to work and, debate, talk about sports like I normally would, because I normally don't have anybody that I could talk to other than our dog and my wife over here.
Yeah.
And they don't know anything about sports. So I went ahead and created a podcast so I can meet with other people. Also to, get those basketball conversations going. So what prompted you, like, after basketball to finally, do this podcast?
What got me into podcasting was I was basically fed up with the whole entire, sports media. You know how sports media, they just got a bunch of characters now. And like I try to go into these TV shows, looking to learn something about sports, you know what I'm saying? But it's just always the same regurgitated crap. So one day I just got tired of it and I just decided to create my own lane, and give my opinion on basketball from just a real authentic view of somebody that played the game before, somebody that knows the ins and outs of the game, somebody that knows, strategy and everything. So I decided to just create my own lane. And, that's when the Daniel Artest podcast was birthed.
Man, that's awesome, man. Just to, hear that story, coming from basketball, then transitioning into this. And I've listened to a lot of the episodes already. Just listening to your intellect and how you're able to articulate certain things right there, man. It's awesome that you're able to, dive right into that. But I guess we can start off with my first topic. I saw that you had saw some of the Last Dance. I kind of want to start, then we're gonna talk about some other basketball topics that I seen come through today. So what did you think about that Rodman story, man?
I think that it was dope to see Rodman, portrayed in a positive light. It's about time, because every time we hear a Dennis Rodman story, it's always something negative. You know what I mean? So to hear his side of the story and how the media, whoever directed the show, bring it up as a positive Dennis Rodman story. We just got to see him, talk about basketball. You see his intellect, how high his IQ is. He's not just like some dumb guy that can rebound. He actually knows the game, is a very good passer, underrated passer, to be honest. And I think that he's one of the top 5, top 7 power forwards to ever play the game, to be honest.
Yeah, that was same thing with me too, because there's a lot of things that they did reveal, and like you said, the media did portray him in a bad light, but he was a great teammate. He understood where he needed to be. I don't know if did you catch that part where he was talking about it was like a little private interview where he was sitting down and he was talking about how he strategizes where the ball goes. You know, if the person shoots this way, he needs to be over here. If the ball pops off this way, Michael shoots the ball this way, I know I need to be over here in this position. So what do you think about like that when he's, breaking that down as a
bro.
basketball intellect?
Bro, when I heard that, man, that brought joy to me because that's how I look at rebounding. Um, I study plays all the time. Even like I don't have to be in the NBA, but when I'm going up against somebody, I study how they shoot. I even start during when we in layup lines or something like that. I study how they shoot. Even if we playing pickup ball and we just shooting around before the game start, I'm studying how they shoot, how that ball go off the rim, where it's going to go. So I'm always in position for a rebound. So hearing Dennis Rodman talk about that just brought joy to my eyes, man. I really enjoyed that, and like I said, it also goes to his intellect as a basketball player. Like I said, he's not no wild guy. He's Dennis Rodman, but he is what he is. That's just him. That's just his character. You know what I'm saying? But on the court, you see, what he was talking about.
Yeah, man, that right there, I was like, man, like Dennis Rodman actually knows what he's talking about, because we always look at Dennis Rodman like, man, some crazy guy is just eccentric. And for me to just hear that, man, I was like, wow, man, that was just blown away by how smart he really is. And then I'm in Texas, so he's from out here too, so he's one of our own, man.
Yeah. Shout out to Texas, man. Shout
Yes,
out.
sir, man. Um, And then I did want to kind of get into like the Phil Jackson story a little bit. So what did you think about Phil Jackson's story and how he was introduced into the show?
I was talking about it yesterday on my live. I did a live breaking down episodes 3 and 4 yesterday, and I was basically saying like, "Hey, man, they dug deep in the archives to find the Phil Jackson basketball mixtape." I thought it was cool, watching him play and stuff, like seeing him out there. I seen a little bit of footage of Phil Jackson playing. It was always just the same regurgitated, film, but to see other stuff what he was doing, his defense, stealing the ball. He had great length to steal a ball, get to the basket and stuff. Like no real athleticism, but just a real hustle guy and things. And Phil Jackson's past, like they say he was, doing the acid or those drugs and stuff like that. Kind of connected the dots between him and Rodman because they basically the same type of person.
I was just about to say that, man. It really just started because their bond was like no other. Because if you look at it, how Phil Jackson's career was and how Dennis Rodman's career is like intertwines in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yes, it does intertwine. It does intertwine. It's really accurate between Dennis and Phil. That's why he was able to connect, and that's why, like when Dennis was like, "Hey, I want to go to Vegas for 48 hours," that Phil Jackson, understood what type of person Dennis is, and that's why he let him go on that trip for 48 hours, even though it was longer. But he understood that Dennis really needed that time off.
Now, from my understanding, when he did take that time off, he was back in Chicago after that 48 hours. So he made it back on time. He just didn't make it to the facility.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I know. No, he was gone for a couple of days though.
Right.
Probably was back in Chicago, but he probably was, recovering from, the Las Vegas antics.
That's when Michael Jordan came knocking on his door looking for him.
Yeah, yo, man, that story is crazy with Carmen Electra, and
yeah, man,
that's crazy. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, man, it's just some of the wildest stories, man. I was just looking at it, I was like, man, wow, that's crazy. So the next question that I have, so I guess how much of the Bulls' success do you give credit to Phil Jackson? With the with him using a lot of Tex Winter's philosophy and things like that. So how much of that do you credit Phil Jackson? Because it seemed like throughout his whole entire coaching career, he's had Tex Winter in that triangle.
I mean, you give Phil Jackson a lot of credit. You give Tex Winter a lot of credit too. I say if you could do percentages, I say that you can give it 60-40 or maybe even 75-25, 75% Phil Jackson, 25% Tex Winter for installing the offense, But the way Phil Jackson can deal with the egos, you know what I'm saying? The way he can deal with those superstars and Michael,
right.
Scotty and Dennis, and keep the team together throughout that entire turmoil, that season where basically they say, listen, this is your last year. You're not coming back after this year. A lot of teams today would have just been like, whatever. It would have been a shit show. You know what I'm saying? To be honest, and the fact that they can fight through all that adversity and still go out and win a championship, man, that's big. And Phil Jackson definitely should get a lot of credit. I know they say all these coaches are superstars or whatever, but it's hard to keep, a bunch of superstar players who have ego, who's trying to be something in their careers, all that to keep them, within the format of the team. That's big.
Yeah, that was my biggest takeaway too. The reason why I asked, I just wanted to hear your take on it. Just how he was and how he's able to handle high profile athletes and egos and things like that. Because that if you think about it, man, that Bulls team was a bunch of misfits, man, and different personalities, different backgrounds, and things like that. And then you add Dennis onto the mix. I mean, they did that, man. Winning championships, and they basically it was them against the organization, and they knew what they had to do. Everybody knew their job, and they went out and executed, and they got it done.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you got a job to do. Can't worry about what management does, even though management, they were just so wide open, so open with that business like that. We wanted to break the team up. Well, Jerry Krause, not management, just Jerry Krause. But I guess they had a job to do. You got to give a lot of tremendous respect, tremendous applause to the veterans on that Bulls team for keeping everybody in line. Tremendous applause to the coaching staff as well for keeping everybody in line, especially the superstar players. Keeping them in line, giving them the message so they can give the message to the other guys on the team.
Right. So, man, I'm a segue out of this topic, man. I wanted to kind of ask you about another sport related topic. I did hear one of your podcasts that you did briefly speak on a little bit, but I want to kind of dive in on this one. So how do you feel about some of the restrictions being loosened up with the stay-at-home practicing, and then some of the teams are being able to enter their facilities as early as Friday?
I think that they're doing it too soon. To be
Right.
honest, I think that they should wait a while, a little bit more. I thought that June would have been perfect.
Right,
but,
yeah.
I guess they probably feeling pressure, losing money and stuff. The NBA probably lost $1 billion right now for this season in revenue. So I guess they just gonna, do whatever it takes to get back. But what about the other cities that's not opening up? New York is not opening up to June. So what they gonna do about with the Knicks? It's just a touchy subject because this virus is definitely for real. I lost friends, I lost family. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that we need to be more serious. I get it. Entertainment is pretty much everything for some people, but we need to err on the side of caution and then just stop this virus and like slow it down, and so we can really have an NBA season, like regular NBA season with fans and stuff. I just think that they might be trying to push down on the gas and rush to a decision where it might be counterproductive to what the government is doing.
Yeah, that was one of my biggest things too. As much as I want basketball to come back, and much as we need basketball to come back, there is a timing element in it that we need to consider as well. Have we got this thing 100% under control? Is it basically, is it a good time to be able to, for these teams to be able to meet with each other? Because from my understanding, they're letting them back in the facilities to be able to use it, like privately, like the players going there and work out and things like that. But what's going to stop them from them running 4 or 5-on-5 practices?
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, what's going to stop them from really not following protocol as well?
Right.
Even though they're supposed to be doing this distancing, it's going to be hard to do social distancing in a practice facility. Somebody's going to want to go up against each other, to see what's going on. So, what's going on with that? Are they going to have like independent people there to oversee, these teams? It's a lot of questions.
Yeah, it's a lot of logistics going on, and just like you said, you did touch on one point that I wanted to bring up about New York not opening up, but then you got Georgia already one of the ones that's already kind of testing the waters out with loosening their stay-at-home orders and things like that. So, but my thing is this: does it really matter if the teams that wasn't even considered playoff contenders and they're opening up their practices or whatever?
Yeah,
Does that factor in because they're not even contenders?
it do matter because they can still infect people. Just because the NBA players are not making the playoffs, it doesn't mean they can infect other people.
Right.
Outside of basketball. You know what I'm saying? So it does matter in my opinion.
Okay. So I did want to get your topic, your take on this too. Since we're on talking about New York basketball, so you grew up in New York.
Yes, sir.
So that's the mecca of basketball. Everybody talks about New York. So would you think that you growing up in New York, it was almost pre-written that you was gonna pick up a basketball at some point?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. You could say that. Everybody plays basketball in New York. Everybody. That's all you see. Especially when I was growing up. We played basketball damn near every day, rain, sleet, snow. We out there playing basketball, whether we in the gym or outside. You know what I mean? So many outdoor courts in New York, you can pretty much go anywhere and find a game. But as far as New York being a mecca, I think that is kind of an overrated term now because we're not really producing. I think our mecca is street ball. But as far as professional, we got a couple in there. Like we got a couple in there, like Kemba Walker, Lance Stevenson and stuff. Mo Harkless. But as far as like the mecca of basketball like that, I think that goes to like the West Coast, like LA. They got a bunch of players, in the NBA. Indianapolis, has a bunch of players in the NBA. Seattle, has a bunch of players. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's going to come back to New York. But I just think that we don't have the crown no more. Like we don't have that aura that we used to have. You know what I'm saying? We're not invincible no more.
Right. So what age did you start? Hey man, I can really play basketball. This is something I can really transition. I can actually do something with this basketball thing.
That was about, I want to say, when I realized I could be a basketball player for real, like I was around like a senior in high school, and I went up against this player was number one in the nation at the time. His name is Lenny Cook, and we used to play AAU ball together. And I went up against him as as rivals in this league called IS8, and I kind of got the best of him. And that's when I realized, like, hey, if I can go up and get the best of number one player in the nation, then I'm pretty much gonna get the best of anybody. That really catapulted my confidence into going to college and having success in college at the schools that I went to, and then further my career along going professionally. So that's when I realized I could play basketball. I was about 18, 19 years old.
So when you knew that you can play professionally, was the NBA on your mind at all?
Nah, the NBA wasn't really on my mind like that. The NBA only got on my mind when I was able to go work out with my brother at the facilities of the teams that he was playing in, and then he used to take me along, and then I was really like unstoppable versus his teammates.
Really? Okay.
There was times like there was nothing that none of those teammates could do to me. I was strong, especially when I was in shape. When I was, I'm 6'4", like my playing weight 265, 270. And like I was just like a wrecking ball, and it was like nothing they could do. And like coaches seen that, executives seen that and stuff. And that's when I realized like, hey, maybe I can play in the NBA. I'm like, if I'm just doing this to these teammates, to these rotation guys, like I know that I can play in this league.
Right, man. And like what now that we're talking about going to the facilities, I want to talk about Lakers, man. So did you ever go to any of the Laker practices or anything like that?
Yeah, I went to a couple of Lakers practices. I got to see everybody in action. I actually tried out for the Lakers summer league team as well myself. I didn't make the summer league team, but it was a dope experience to be a part of that organization.
So your brother, I remember when we actually acquired Meta from the Rockets.
Yeah,
I remember I was really excited about that, man, because like the year before, I don't know if you remember, I think it was a playoff game and the Rockets played the Lakers. And I remember vividly about this situation where him and Kobe had got into a scuffle, like a little, back and forth. And I was looking, I said, man, I said we need that type of attitude on the team. And then turning around the next year, we end up getting him. I was like, wow, man, we end up getting Meta, man. And I said, man, this is the piece that we needed to get over the hump, man.
Yeah, yeah. I was surprising too because, with Kobe, Ron got into that tussle. I'm like, I'm like, I'm ready to ride on Kobe for my brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, like Kobe, you could get it. You know what I mean? And then it's funny because I was trying out for the Lakers summer league team, and Ron signed with the Lakers while I was there. I didn't even know he was signing with the Lakers. I was just in trials. I seen him, and then he's like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm like, "Yo, what are you doing here?" He's like, "Yo, I'm signing with the Lakers," and I'm like, "Dead ass?" And he was like, "Yeah, he's dead serious." And so I just got dressed, and then I just just strolled along with him while he was meeting everybody in the Lakers organization and stuff. And then he signed the contract. I'm literally there signing the contract. You might see a picture of him signing the contract online because I took that picture or whatever on my phone and stuff. And I was just like, yo, he really signed with the Lakers. He's about to sign with Kobe. Like, it was crazy. I was just like in shock when that happened.
So whenever you was around, so did you ever get a chance to like meet with Kobe?
Yeah, of course. Got to meet with Kobe plenty of times, man. Kobe really was a good dude, man. And sad what happened to him and everybody that was involved in that tragic day. But yeah, I got to talk to him about basketball stuff. We talked about the triangle offense. You know what I mean? He was giving me footwork tips and how to run the offense. You know what I mean? To perfection or whatever. And so it was really dope to have conversation with Kobe, have a little bit of banter with him, like, hey, you can't stop me in the post, Kobe. I'll get at you. You know what I'm saying? So that was fun to actually, have those conversations with him. And it's just unfortunate that at this time today that Kobe's not even on planet Earth. Like, what I mean, he's in a far better place than now. You know what I mean? It's just so tragic, so sad, so sudden.
And that's how I felt about it. I thought it was like when I first heard about it, and we kind of, I know we kind of getting off topic, but Kobe was, a light to a lot of people. And
Yeah.
for me, when I was, in high school, I was more so geared towards football. I like football a lot. I was into football more so than basketball, but I
Okay.
started really more so gravitating to basketball because of Kobe. I was
Yeah.
a freshman in high school, and the Lakers had just, arrived really during that year. It was the year 2000 before they won their first title with Shaq and Kobe.
Yeah.
And I was, I've been following his career in the Lakers ever since. And so whenever I heard about the tragic news, I was actually at a restaurant. I had just left the gym from playing basketball because I'm still, actively trying to shoot around and stay in shape and things like that. And I heard about it. My mother actually sent me a message about it because she know how much I'm such a diehard Laker fan. I'm a Kobe fan. She sent it to me. I said, man, this got to be fake. This can't be real. Like, this is something like I don't believe it because
Yeah.
nobody was reporting it. I didn't hear nothing about it. No media outlets reporting anything like that. It was just some TMZ article, saying that he was had perished, and I was like, man. And so I kind of like froze. I couldn't even eat my food. And then it started flooding in. I started hearing like a lot of more news outlet reporting it. It was
Yeah.
on every TV in that restaurant I was in there. I said, man, like a part of me, like I was just lost right then and there. I was like, wow, like this is serious. Like I can't believe this. It just to think this year he was supposed to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, exactly. That day was crazy because like it just felt different. You know what I'm saying? And I was just going on a walk, just doing a little 3-mile walk, and my phone just started going crazy, and then it was my friends like, yo, Kobe passed away. I'm like, yo, get out of here. Hung up the phone, went online, and then when it was confirmed that it was true, I just couldn't walk home. I just had to sit down, and I was just like freaking out, like, damn, like, Kobe passed away. They're like, this is crazy, and then I was trying to reach my brother, but I couldn't get in contact with him. So I was kind of worried about him and stuff. And, it was just a real surreal day. That day was really crazy. And then like, once it broke on social media, it just took off from there. And so, It's just a sad moment. And then at first, the news was coming out like all his daughters was on, the helicopter with him and stuff. So we was like, worried about that. And then when we found out, it was Gigi, that really just, tore our hearts apart, man, because she was just so young. She didn't really get to live her life yet, being so young. And it was just unfortunate and sad.
Yeah, and I just didn't like how it was handled myself because, just like you said, that said all his daughter was on there. Then I heard a report that Rick Fox was on the plane as well, and I'm like, come on, man, like y'all don't even have the manifest. Like, yeah, do y'all know exactly who was on the plane and who was the pilot and all that stuff? Y'all don't even know anything. It's just I hate the fact that it was a race to become the first one to report the story.
Yeah, that's the media for you, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it is now. It's unfortunate that the media is basically like a race to get the news first. It doesn't matter if it was real. It matters about who gets it first.
Yeah, the race
Unfortunate.
the race the first, but not the one that's right.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I mean, like why it be like the race to be right?
Exactly. But whatever, clickbait, whatever get the clicks, clicks matter, I guess.
Yeah. So I want to go into my last little segment. I normally ask a lot of my guests, if we're talking about basketball, a basketball topic, I want to know if you was to build a team, you was a GM of a team, you can use past or present players, your starting five, and you can add in some bench guys or whatever. But like, what team would you think would be unstoppable if you was to build a team? And it can be retired players and it can be current players.
Okay, cool. You know what? I'm gonna show Isaiah Thomas some love because Isaiah Thomas, he's going through it right now.
Yeah, he going through it right now.
You know what I'm saying? So I'll start Isaiah Thomas at the one, and then I'm gonna have a conversation with Jordan. Be like, yo, Jordan, listen, man, this is how it's got to be. We need y'all to just hash out because I need you at this two. You know what I'm saying? And I have MJ at the two, and then at the three, you know what I'm saying? It's definitely a biased pick. I'm going with my brother at the three. The defensive player of the year version. And at the four, I'm going with Tim Duncan. And then at the five, I am going with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I will have Shaq on the bench at the five. Then at the four, I will have Chris Webber coming off the bench as well. At the three, I will have Scottie Pippen at the three coming off the bench. At the two, of course, Kobe coming off the bench. At the one, coming off the bench, I will have unfortunately, I'm sorry, but this is my team, LeBron.
Hey man, he wore that like a uniform, man. So he one of us now.
Yeah. The only reason why I got him coming off the bench behind my brother because it's my team, and my brother plays.
Yeah, definitely. So I know it says the last topic, but what do you like? What are your take on LeBron and in these current Lakers?
um, I mean they're good.
Can
Look,
they win the title?
yes, they can win the title, and they absolutely have to win the title this year. I feel like
They
it.
have, yeah.
They have to. When the season starts up, they absolutely have to win the title this year. I think that it'd be hard for LeBron to win. You know what I mean? Next year, especially even if the season is wasted, I think that it would be hard. So I think they absolutely have to win this year. Like it's their time right now.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Because especially with the events of this year, and I don't want to hear about no asterisk or
Yeah,
no, like this is just because the season was short or anything like that. Like, I mean, we went through a lot this year, like losing Kobe at the beginning of the year, and then having to deal with the season being suspended. And we were the number one seed in the NBA.
yeah, exactly.
Like I couldn't like we have to. This season has to culminate into a championship. Like it's championship or nothing. And then we
Yeah,
don't
I
even know if
agree.
we're going to be able to re-sign Anthony Davis. I know that he's going to be a free agent after this season, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're going to resign AD. I think it's a given. I want to say he's a lock. I think he's a lock to sign here in LA. Look what he got. Like where else he's going to go to
It was
Chicago?
saying, but he's going home. Yeah, Chicago.
I mean, that's cool and all, but you know, LA is a dope city to live in. You know what I'm saying? I get it. He probably want to go home, but I don't see the Lakers losing AD, winning the championship or not. I don't see them. If they win a championship, he definitely can't go.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Daniel, I want to appreciate you for coming on the show, man. You've been an awesome guest, man. I want to link up with you again on your show. Tell everyone how they can reach out to you. Tell them about your group and everything else.
Yeah, so Daniel Artest, man. The Daniel Artest podcast is my thing. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Daniel Artest Pod. I got a Facebook group. You can just search it, the Daniel Artest Podcast, and we have about 2,400 members in there. I'm sure Corey's a member in the group as well. If not, please become a member in the group, Corey. Also has DanielArtest.com and new website that's up, and just all about basketball, man. But sometimes I don't talk about basketball on my podcast. I try to talk about other things too that that benefits us, like mental health, learning how to invest, and with the stocks and everything like that. I also did prison reform podcast as well, believe it or not. But I just try to be authentic in what I'm doing. Like I said, I podcast because I'm just tired of the nonsense that goes on in sports media. So, like I said, I created my own lane. So, and that's why I'm here today, man. And I want to thank you for having me on the show. Shout outs to the Out of Bounds podcast. Thanks for having me on. Salute, and keep pushing as well yourself, man.
Man, I appreciate that, man. And just, you got all my support. I can't wait to get on your show and do your show as well. And, this relationship doesn't have to stop at this podcast, man. Just continue to do what you're doing. I'm going to support you. You support me, and we can do it, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what it is. Podcasting one big family now, man. So we got to make
Yes.
sure that we keep it going, man.
All right, man. There it is. And I'm going to end the show on that note. Daniel, thank you again, and we're out.
Yep. Peace. Salute, man.
All right,
One.
man.